Hey, welcome back. So it always takes a few minutes for this live to load, so I'm not going to immediately start talking, but if you want to skip ahead like 2 minutes, I'm going to be talking about acting and basically in light of the Oscars. I didn't really know what I was going to talk about, but I do these long chats where I just kind of casually talk about different subjects, and I haven't done an acting video in a while. It's not that my videos were specifically about acting, but I did do vlogs where I would kind of talk about what I was doing and my auditions and things like that. So, I'm going to be talking about acting, the state of the industry. I'm an actress slash filmmaker slash probably other things. I do live in the LA area. I did grow up in Southern California. And so I'm going to give 5 tips for people who are thinking about it because I am around a lot of other new actors and yeah, I mean, I see new actors have the same questions over and over again, so I'm gonna give my advice on that. And then, also just sort of the state of the industry in light of the Oscars and everything that's going on. But basically, these long chats are very casual. I'm finishing my makeup and eating my lunch because this is part of my lunch break between my dance classes. So, yes, I will get right to that. But I have my earrings that I have to put on. Well, I don't have to put them on, but I want to put them on. Um, so yeah. And yeah, basically, um, it should be loaded by now, hopefully. I've noticed that there's always just a delay, so that's why I don't immediately start because I noticed that my previous videos are like a little bit cut off. And so I'm trying to prevent that from happening. But yeah, so the Oscars just happened, obviously, for those who are interested and do like watching it. And the conversation that's actually been going on the news and around all of Los Angeles is just the state of the industry because it's not what it used to be, which is true. It's not what it was 5 years ago. It's not what it was like 3 years ago. Honestly, it just keeps changing and evolving. And I think that's just sort of how it works naturally. Like, it's not going to stay the same. Nothing is going to stay the same really because things change really quickly now. But I think it's not even doing like what people anticipated who have been like in it for years and work very professionally. So, I do have a pretty long background with like the entertainment industry. It's, what I work in, but it is also just like what I grew up around as well, like off and on. Um, it's one of those things that if you don't plan, like a lot of people like they're like in it and then they're like taking a break. And when that happens, like, people will fall out of it for a few years. I didn't consider myself as taking a break. But I guess I did. And then obviously during the pandemic, there was like another break. And then during the strikes, there was another break. So it's all just one big break, honestly. Um, but you just kind of keep going. So first I'll talk about, I guess, the state that it's in, and then I'll give some advice. So, yeah, from even a professional's perspective, it's not in a good state in the United States. Um, it hasn't been in a while. I think some people tried to deny it, but like it's just not. Um, yeah, I was watching like news reports. You can watch, there's some news reports. One news report that I'm mentioning from NBC, like LA News Conference, NBC4's LA News Conference. And they're talking about, like saving Hollywood or whatever. And they just talk about how the majority of projects are no longer filmed here. So, like, if you've heard that everything's filmed here, that was true, it is no longer true. The numbers have officially flipped. And I think honestly, during the strikes, it was becoming pretty clear that not everything was filmed here and the most things weren't filmed here. But some people like tried to deny it. Um, yeah, when you hear from certain agents and managers, I think they do feel like if you sort of stay positive, that will like help, with everything and it will sort of keep you know, like if you talk really bad about something, then naturally it may become bad because you've said that it was bad, you know? So, but one thing that I don't like is when they try and like kind of gaslight actors into thinking like everything's great. They're like, no, the same stuff is being filmed, the same amount of stuff's being filmed. It's like, that's not true. I work on both sides. I have friends on both sides. So like it's not true. We know. We can count. And also TV shows which were for regular people like bread and butter, you know, most people aren't movie stars, but the like regular TV shows which kept a lot of people both in front of and behind the camera employed used to have 24 episodes, now they have 8. That's a third, right? Like that there's no argument. So, yeah, it's less. And one thing that I found interesting that the person was talking about in the interview is just the fact that, I'm sorry, I am that person in the car. Just the fact that now projects are either like really huge or really like on the smaller side, more independent. And I think, you know, like we saw it with the Oscars, huge multi-million, hundreds of $1 million projects, and then smaller independent things, and not so much just mid-range, mid-level things. And so, yeah, I think like they called it a retraction. I've seen that on YouTube videos. It is a retraction. There is less. England has like, I mean, they've always had a film industry, right? They've always been going, but I don't think they got the recognition for their stuff, and now they are getting the recognition, which they deserve because they're really good, obviously. And half of our actors are from Australia or England anyway. So yeah, it's just one of those things that is a fact. I love Korean television. Korean television has come a long way. They were good at movies anyway. But they really like figured out their formula for television and like really took over. So they're doing well. Canada is always somewhere that things were filmed. Um, and you know, as everyone can see, like they're just making reboots and they don't really want to work on like new stories. On the like larger level, the if you're making like an independent thing, then you really have to sort of make it on your own. Um, and like hope that you can get some traction with it. And it's like really a ground up kind of thing. Atlanta, New York, they do film things in New York. I've always heard that it's less, and as far as I can tell from the people who I know who lived there that like debated moving out here, they I don't know. I feel like it's sort of a grass is greener as far as those two are concerned. If you're in New York, you're going to feel like people in LA are doing better. If you're in LA, you may feel like people in New York or Atlanta are doing better. So those are hard to tell with. They've always filmed less in New York, I think just because it's freezing and snowy and like that's just a hard conditions to work under. Um, Atlanta's sort of the Wild Wild West, as they say. They do have huge studios there, and huge production companies that do make things there. And obviously, all the Marvel movies and stuff are made there. So, but what I do hear from people is not that there is necessarily a lack of work like there is here, but they can never move up. Like from the people that I know, they feel like they're stuck. And even the actors got into a huge argument, and I think it was a casting director who really should have just not said anything, was like, you get what you deserve or whatever, some craziness. And so, yeah, I forgot to put on eyeliner, sorry. And yeah, so that was the argument over. They're still being paid 3 Marvel movies in, the same thing. So I think a lot of it is like hard to figure out in terms of is it better in a different place or whatever. Which brings me to like my actual advice. If you are somewhere, right? Which obviously you are. No matter where you are, I would say start working wherever you are. I mean, like this advice has like been given to people, but I feel like they really don't heed it. They're like, I can just do better in LA. And it's like, start if you like acting and you really want to act, And it's not a one-off thing where you're like, I'm going to go and they're just going to discover me and I'm going to become a star. And you want it to be like your job and not some other thing. Then I would say start wherever you are. There are online acting classes because everyone's always like, there are no acting classes where I am. And it's like, there are. You probably haven't looked and you probably haven't asked. Honestly, like even the smallest towns have theater groups and acting classes and stuff. Okay, whatever. But if there really aren't, then there are online ones that you can do. You search Los Angeles online acting schools or whatever, and most acting schools offer online classes now after our pandemic. Like everyone had to do it anyway. So they are prepared with that, which is really good. You take the classes, you see if you like them, um, and that gets you like into the mode of acting, you know, like you practice scenes. I think that's what people don't realize. Like, you're not gonna. Theater lets you work out like a whole character from beginning to end, and you work on like a big piece, and you have to keep stamina on stage for however many hours. And that is what's good about it, because it prepares you for like sort of the pressure of like being on set, and it prepares you for just having to like work longer hours and learn more lines or whatever, depending on how big of a role you get in the theater. And it's just good prep, where if you do an acting class, they're going to have you work on a 2-page scene and like just have you like, they just want you to nail that. But it doesn't give you the same type of like pressure or stamina as you might find in other places. So you do that, you take the online acting courses. Headshots, I would take my own or have a friend take it with like a really like new iPhone or a DSLR. You can do an 8x10 like framing, just crop it to 8x10. Um, Honestly, like they're kind of a wide range of shapes, but we're still sticking, I think, to 8x10 headshots, hopefully, sort of, even though everything's online and like nothing's printed on 8x11 paper, but whatever. Um, and take a photo against a blank background. Honestly, I have like really fancy headshots that look like magazine headshots, and I was telling this to a friend the other day. I've gotten way more audition requests with my like blank. It sort of looks like a license photo, but like a good one. You know what I mean? Not like a crappy license photo, but like a good license photo. It's just like me in this like regular makeup, and I'm smiling and I've got my arms crossed and I'm like, you know. Um and there's like a little bit of light, you know, a little bit of like energy in my eyes, and that's what they're looking for. And you can change, you know, your shirt, put on a jacket, put on glasses or whatever, and do like a serious one that's like more like lawyer, you know, or whatever, and have a few of those, and then you haven't spent all the money. You can always go back and pay for them later if someone's like, these are the worst headshots or whatever. But if you do it with white lighting, not yellow lighting, I think it will look fine. And I would recommend this, honestly, almost no matter what level that you're at, you know what I mean? Um, because I just found that I got more headshots. I think they're so worried now that they're going to get someone who does not look like their headshot. They would rather it look like a real photo, and they're just concerned that if it looks like glossy, that it's not going to look like you. And I heard a lot that like my headshot looked old. I still hear that that headshot looks older than me, which is crazy because that I got that headshot like when I like first like started like dipping my toe in. It's been a while, and people are still like, that headshot looks older than you. And I'm like, are you serious? Um, so yeah, anyway, and that headshot was done by a professional photographer who works in LA for big, like big clients that are popular and famous. And I love the photo. It's like, to me, one of the best photos that's ever been taken of me, but it, for audition purposes, is, you know, so yeah, and obviously I do have my reel. So in terms of getting a reel, okay, this is the harder one. It is a difficult thing. First, I had someone recommend, just a guy that I know, that you do a slate. I think that is good advice where you just say, hello, my name's Virginia. I'm from Southern California. You know, you say like a few things about yourself. I really enjoy such and such. Keep it to like 10 seconds so they can see you speaking and hear what your voice sounds like. This is for people who have no reel, okay? Another thing that you would do that's like clip one, because reels, I think reels used to be like 2, 3, 4 minutes, you know, not really, but you know, they were supposed to be like 2 or 3 minutes. Instead of doing a long reel now, people want clips, and you can select like if you're doing a dramatic role, auditioning for a dramatic role, you send the dramatic clips. You don't send like all your comedy clips. You just send the ones that are relevant to that role. Now I do have enough clips. Initially, I had not great ones, but I always put something up there. Um, Student films are kind of hard to get the footage back from, which is annoying, but sometimes they're filming on high quality cameras. You may be able to get a bigger role in it, especially if you have like a particular look. I feel like there's a look that student films, like people who hire for student films, look for. And when I say people who hire for student films, I mean students, because that's who's hiring for the film. But, you know, students have an idea of like whatever they've watched on TV, and so they sort of go for that look. Mm. So if you have that look, like you can totally like get roles. And like that's what I'm saying too about coming to California. Like USC is the student films out here. They have professional casting and they hire people who have agents. So it could be hard for you to even get a student film out here. Most of the people who come out here, and I do background work too, but most of the people who come out here end up stuck in background work because they don't have an agent and they can't get anything. They don't have, if they don't, especially if they don't have footage already, they can't get an agent because they don't have footage, and they haven't had an agent. So there's no agent from Atlanta or from, you know, Ohio to recommend them to an agent out here. Which, if you are in the process of moving, like, it can't hurt to ask your agent to keep representing you in the market that you live in currently, even after you've moved, and ask them to try and help you find an agent or representative in Los Angeles so that you don't come out here with like no backing at all. And I don't think background work is bad. It makes you a little bit of money. And I think if anyone hasn't been on a real professional set, then you should do background work with, I would say, central casting. They're going to give you the most professional types of jobs. People complain, but there's no argument that NCIS is NCIS. You know what I mean? They're like, the days are long and sometimes they don't do this and blah, blah, blah. And like, there are a lot of other places where you can get extra work. But some of those other places cost you, and central casting is free. So I don't know why you wouldn't just go with central casting, because they're free. And they text you. You don't have to look for the job. They say, hey, do you want this job? And you go yes or no. So yeah, and it will get you onto a set that is professional so you can see how it works. You can watch how they work. You can hear the terminology. You can see how the hours break down. I'm so tired of having people argue with me over lunch. They're like, we should be fed lunch. It's been like 4 hours. It's like, no, it's 6. It's 6 hours. There's no discussion. It's in the contracts. SAG shows 6 hours. Okay. And non-union shows, generally, the more reputable ones, try to stick to that, you know, that type of rule because it just keeps people happier, honestly. So yeah, you'll be non-union, but you can work on a union show. My advice, I didn't get back. I'll finish the reels, I promise. My advice on joining the union is don't become SAG-E as soon as you can, but don't join it until you have like a speaking role in a television show or like in a movie. Unless you think you're going to make a career out of being a SAG background actor. If you feel like you can do that, and like if there's a show that like offers you like a regular long-term position or something, which like Grey's Anatomy has long-term extras, then, you know, yeah, you could join it. But if you are just doing one-off extra things and you have no speaking role behind you, then there's no reason to join SAG. You don't have the money to join SAG. You won't have worked enough hours to earn the benefits that people say you'll earn from joining them. Just don't do it until they make you join. Um, Unless you get a role, like I said. So anyway, back to real student films. Film with your friends, like your acting friends, if you can find some. It doesn't have to be, because you're only putting up a clip that's like maybe 30 seconds to a minute. You don't need to make like a whole movie or whatever, but it helps if you call it a short film and upload and like make credits for it and upload it to IMDb, and then you can call it a short film, and then that's your first IMDb credit. You do not get IMDb credit for extra work. Don't put extra work on on IMDb. So if you make a short film with friends, and a short film can be like 3 minutes, and then now someone has to pay for IMDb, but you can pay for it for a month, put the movie up there, and then when you stop paying for it, anything you put on your personal profile will disappear, but the movie and the pictures for the movie will stay up there, and the credit to your name will stay there. So like it will say like you can claim the profile, and you know, once you stop paying, then you unclaim it basically, but it's okay. You'll have the movie up there in the credits, and you can just send the link even though like you're not paying for it, you know? So that's another way. So those are like the three ways that you get footage. You film it something yourself with friends, and try and make it look decent. And don't put a lot of action in it. Action's hard to film. It doesn't need to be like drama. You can do comedy. Comedy's fun. People take it less seriously. So a clip from comedy that doesn't look good versus a clip from, you know, like drama that doesn't look good, it's like no one's going to be fooled into thinking, like, I don't know how to put it. It's kind of a weird thing, but like a clip from a comedy that doesn't look like high quality, super professional could still be from a pretty decent project. Whereas if you're trying to go for like an Oscar winning scene of like drama and it looks like not good, I feel like people hold that against you a little bit more. I like comedy, so I try and go for comedy, even though I do get cast in drama more. Um, but I do find that they call me in more now that I have my comedic. Like I've got my comedic clips, but they'll call me in for drama. You know what I mean? So like, don't think that that pigeonholes you, because they're gonna call you in for what they see you as, and I play more like straight, but in a comedy. You know what I mean? Whereas if I have not great drama roles up, I don't think I would get called in for drama. Because I'm sort of like, I don't know, you know, sarcastic and just rando. So yeah, that's how you get your clips. You have your slate up there. You maybe have a clip from a student film if you can get it back. Ask them when the student film is due, and then you'll know, because the project has to be turned in. And if they say that it's due, don't let them graduate and leave the school, because sometimes they don't keep the film with them. They just leave like in the school archive, and then you'll never get it. So ask for it like right before that due date, and say like, or not right before the due date, but like on the due date. They may be editing up till midnight, you know, before their assignment is due, because it's homework for the kid, you know. And then they hopefully can shoot it to you, and then you can edit it yourself. You're going to need to learn how to edit. That's my piece of advice. You're going to need to, it doesn't need to be on Premiere Pro. It doesn't need to be on the best editor. I recommend InShot. This isn't sponsored, sadly. I like them, but it's not sponsored. And it's $10 a year, which is pretty good. And you can edit it on your phone. That way, if you film audition clips on your phone, you know, you can just go ahead and edit it like quickly. This video is going to be a lot longer than I thought it would be. This is the problem, because like it is a lot of information. But yeah, it's just for like, you know, these are the things that I hear people asking again and again, and I'm like, these things are easy to Google. You know, all this advice is out there, and even though you know, it's sorry, even though it's hard to like sift through some bad advice, because there is some bad advice out there, most of the advice out there is pretty accurate. Now, some of it, I guess, is a little bit dated because, you know, as things change, it's like people aren't auditioning in person anymore. They are auditioning at home. But like you can Google on like self-tape setups and all of that type of stuff. And those are the things I recommend. And keeping costs down is like your number one priority because there's no amount of money you could spend. You could easily spend 200, I'm not kidding, $200,000. Let's say you get a college degree in it and then you go take a bunch of classes. The workshops in LA can be $100 a class, like easily. So, you know, and like then okay, you've spent $1,000 on headshots and you pay someone $1,000 to help you make a reel. Like, you know, you can easily spend tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars without even blinking, if you're not careful. This is supposed to occur over years, you know what I mean? But there is something to be said for momentum. It's not that like you can push to make it like happen immediately, but if you have momentum, then that does help. But at the front end, you do need to take acting classes. I do recommend also like community colleges have like theater classes. I say theater. Everybody always thinks they're separate, film and theater, but the acting of it is pretty similar. You just tone it down for film, and it will get you on your feet, make you have to perform in front of an audience, give you credits because those credits are still listed on your resume, all those things, you know what I mean? And then for actors that are sort of like they have some things under their belt, right? Which is sort of where I fall. I have it's not like I have reel, I have headshot, I have agent contacts, and I do also have like an agent. So, but you know, it's one of those things where like how do you get to the next step? When you have the momentum, like which you can kind of feel, you know what I mean? Don't let it break. Don't like just stop doing everything and go, "Oh, I'm good." And don't um like or just like don't just stop doing it. You know what I mean? Like submit more to people for more auditions on the casting profiles. You can decide which ones you want. Right now, Actors Access has a lot of vertical shorts, which aren't great in terms of quality, but they do pay you. And you get a little bit of reel from them. I've heard that sometimes background actors get lines on them. That's what Actors Access just filled up with. It used to have sort of everything, and now it's like full of vertical shorts. Um, then there's Casting Networks, which has commercials on it, and then also like independent projects, reality TV, stuff like that. Casting Frontier, which I guess is sort of a hodgepodge. Sometimes I see things like cross-listed. Um, you know, they all cost different amounts. For the least expensive, I would sort of recommend Actors Access. It's $67 a year, which is cheaper than the others, no matter what people say. Yes, you have to pay for a minute of footage. Yes, you have to pay if you want extra headshots. But honestly, like I would say 3 to 4 headshots is enough, and 2 of them are free. So yeah, you pay $10 for the extra 2, so $20. You can pay for the slate shot, that's $5. Like I said, the slate video of you. And then to put up reel, you don't have, if you don't have footage, you shouldn't be putting up 2 minute, 3 minute long clips. Like they're not going to help you. So you pick the part where you're acting the best and where you're, you know, like really featured on, like speaking on the camera. And you pick those and they'll probably add up to maybe 2 minutes. That's $44. And then once you've paid that, until you get a new clip, you don't need to pay any more for photos and you don't need to pay any more for video. So you just, let me check the time, sorry. So, you know, you just, okay. I've always wondered if radio music will get me banned or something. But there it is. My rock station. So, you know, I think those are the things that are like most important. Um, and I think those things will help you the most. And if you're looking to go to the next level, like I said, like don't stop submitting. Submit to a lot of agents. You can get their emails from IMDb. Some people still seem to not realize that. You pay for IMDb for a month. Poor IMDb. I am encouraging a lot of people to like just sign up for a month. But hey, you know, that's what it's there for. So you sign up for a month. You go through and you look at TV shows. You scroll down to their day players. You click on their day players. You look at who the day player's agent is. You figure out what the email address of the day player's agent is. And you submit. And do this across a bunch of different television shows. Not just, you know, not just the, like one television show that you like or whatever, or the genre that you think you fit best in, because you don't know yet how other people will see you. If you know agents and managers who you feel that are honest and nice, and I don't mean like will tell you that you're the greatest thing, but like will be honest with you and not overly harsh and not egotistical, ask them to take a look at your stuff. Send them a very succinct, like pieces of like your very succinct reel and your very succinct resume. Mine's 1 page, by the way. You start to drop off old things as you get new things. So try and keep it to 1 page. And ask them what they think. And they'll let you know. One of my friends is a literary agent, and I sent him my acting stuff. And I was like, can you just give me a little advice on this? And, you know, he sees professional stuff. So it's like, even though he's, you know, a literary agent, he knows what things should look like. And then if you don't have that, you can just ask like a friend who you trust, who you feel like has a good handle on things. Which clips, and it's not like a does this suck or not. It's like a please rank these videos or these images in terms of professionalism and like what seems like good acting, you know what I mean? Something I also told someone recently, if you've been acting in another country or in another language, I would still use those clips if they're good. Just put subtitles on the bottom. Another reason InShot's useful, because it does all these things, and it's not that expensive, but just put subtitles on the bottom, and then you have like a dual solution, because it's like, see, look, I have another language that I can speak for your which you'd list in your skills, and then you also have footage of you acting. So yeah, like people think, oh, I've got to throw out everything from my foreign country, and it's like, nah, not really. But like I said, wherever you are, I would stay there and act as much as you can there, and look for films in the area that are filming TV shows, and talking to people is really important. Some people will immediately like shoot it down and be like, you can't do that or whatever. But you never know who like knows a lot about television or movies, because honestly, like I've been in a long time, I don't talk about it to most people that I know. It's just, there's no reason. It's kind of a waste of time, because they either like, I don't know, people just have a lot of preconceived notions about it and like how it works. And they get like, you know, their ego gets in the way, and they like think they're either supposed to like judge how you are, how your acting is, or whether they think you can make it, or like whatever. They have all these things in their head, and like they maybe wanted to do it. Maybe they tried to do it and they like had to quit for whatever number of reasons. And a lot of people think that it's like a success or failure thing. Most people didn't stop acting because they were bad at it, because they failed at it. Most people stopped acting because they ran out of money. and because they had to go, like, take care of a family member or children. That's why most people stop. Or maybe just because they didn't enjoy it anymore, and that's what happens. After a long time, people are like, "Ugh," and I've taken breaks from it. Partially going behind the camera was, like, my break from it. You know, even during college, there was, like, a year where I, like, didn't do it. I did other performance skills, ironically, 'cause I still do actually like performing. But, yeah, I didn't do, like, the acting. So, just try and not let it become, like, a big ego thing. If you wanna do it and you want it to be, like, a job, then do it. And then keep, like, a part-time job, you know, or a full-time job. If you can find a job that's flexible, a flexible job is the best thing that you can find, honestly, because then you can do, like, what you need to do. You can go and do rehearsals for a play at night, you know, or you can go take a dance class during the day, or if you get called for an audition, you can swap with someone else and they can, you know, like, cover for you while you do your audition. And that will keep you going, you know what I mean? It's like a very, like, fun thing, but also sort of like a random thing that just sort of becomes part of your life while you're doing all these other things. So yeah, I hope that advice was helpful. I never know what people are interested in, but I did do acting videos early on, so I realized that I now would be a good time to, like, hop back into it. Um, but yeah, a lot of stuff is not like shooting here. Productions are, like, leaving the area, and I think that there's a way to fix it, but I don't know if people are gonna put in the work to do so. People need to, like, come together and, like, really, like, help bring up, like, the next generation and, like, get people involved and not be so, like, tight with it, you know what I mean? And, like, so closed with it. And then the people who are coming in need to be realistic about it and understand that it's, you know, a group effort and not, like, just all about them. So, I think you have all those things going. But yeah, if you're interested in this type of subject, then please let me know. If you have a different subject that you're interested in for long chats, please let me know. I do them weekly. And if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're interested in this channel. Like, let me know. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.